Planning Board meeting, opening the meeting here. We got Angus Gorman, Paul Olivier sitting in for Amelia Cushing, Sabrina Kerwin, Alice Roy, Russell Poitras. We've got Jake Vogel and Rich Angel, and it's a pretty quiet evening. Just a quick look at the minutes, but seems like you're comfortable with them. Does anyone else have anything concerning about the minutes?
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes that Russell made? Right. Do you want to take a minute, or?
I wasn't here, so.
Okay, we'll just abstain, and that's great. Okay, cool. All right, so correspondence. We have a bill for $14 for planning and land use handbook. This is another copy of this that we received for the deal that they offer. It's a pretty good deal, I think. So I'll just bring that to Sarah to be paid from our budget. We got a notice, an informational courtesy from DES regarding the Hiltz gravel pit, which, I mean, is it still called Green Oaks Grafton Pit, or is it a different? Okay, yeah, so the Green Oaks Pit, the DES received a 5-year progress plan as required by the above referenced alteration of terrain permit. Based on the information provided by Hess Engineering and Construction Consultants, the following must be addressed to maintain or achieve compliance with this permit. Information to indicate that disturbance activities have occurred beyond the limits of disturbance shown on the approved plans. And they're asking for more additional information to demonstrate the stormwater runoff from the disturbed areas is retained on site. Jeremy Hiltz has been asked to respond to DES by September 30th, so we don't have any action to take right now, and we may not, but that's our informational that they're looking to like renew their 5-year alteration of terrain permit. You heard anything about that?
It's two different pits. Jeremy Hiltz owns the pit further down the road on Route 4.
Oh, this is not Green Oaks.
It's not Green Oaks.
Okay, that's okay. This is the one that's like closer, like on the Danbury line?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Do you foresee needing to do anything with this? I thought it was just an informational.
No, that's really all it is.
Okay, great. Budget report to date, we still have spent $25, which we didn't actually spend because it's just an L-chip fee that's being, that was taken from this budget. And the reimbursement went to the general fund instead, so not too worried about that. Capital improvements information packet we received. I'm assuming this is Maureen's
Yes.
touch.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything in here that we didn't already know, but it's just a packet of info about. Oh, there you are. Just in time.
You were waiting for me?
Well, we just picked up your packet. This is
The
your.
one I gave you last week?
Yeah.
The last time?
Yeah, and so it's just going over correspondence here. Bunch of good information that you got a chance to look. Does anyone else want to borrow this to look it over?
Everybody got one,
She gave one to each of us.
except for Paul, because he wasn't here.
Okay.
Not in my phone.
No, it's an addition.
Oh, it came last week. Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah. Here.
Well, now I have it.
There you go. Okay. Moving on to business. Anson Smith's lawyer called me and asked if it was okay to hold a public hearing and conditionally approve the subdivision, waiting on state approval on the test pits and everything. And I said whether it's legal or not, I don't think it's going to speed it up for you. I'm not super comfortable with it, and it's not. I said that if if any of those lots were like under contract to be sold, then that would be something that would be really helpful to move along, and maybe we'd consider it, but it's not gonna get done any faster either way, so rather than having a conditionally signed Mylar waiting around someone's house or up in the attic for an unknown number of months until the state manages to put their stamp on it, we agreed to just wait until the state has approved it, and he will get back in touch with us for a public hearing once that has been obtained. So, nothing on that yet, although I'm optimistic it could be this coming month. Roads. Next thing is roads. Road agent and select board chair and I made copies of the road directory yesterday morning, and a bunch of valuable information in here. First, to touch on your concern, Jake, which Farnham is in fact Class 6. The select board is in the process of contacting the person who put the boulders there. You can feel free to use it. It's not private. That's, you know, and I don't think I be careful choosing my words here. I don't think it's the town's financial responsibility to move the boulders. So we're gonna ask the person who put them there to move them and give them a chance. But the point is it's a public road, and if it wants to not be, it needs to be put on the town warrant. So yes, you can ride a dirt bike on it. If you can squeeze a truck around, you can probably do that. You can definitely walk on it. I received a question from Sarah Hogue about Glass Road. Allegedly there's a lot being sold, and one of the lot owners between Height of Land and the lot that's being sold had expressed that he owned half the road. Just so happened that Scott Sanborn, because he was going to pick up his vegetable share from my wife, I got to talk to him today, and he was the one who did that subdivision plan and corroborated that no, that landowner does not own the ability to block half the road. They technically own up to the center line, but they have to keep that road open for property owners who live beyond him, even though it's no longer a Class 6 road.
And the person living there has no business arresting me with her car twice.
No, Rich, I'm super curious. You're talking about Glass Road?
I'm talking about Farm Hill Road.
Yeah, you're talking about two different roads.
Yeah, we're, so
Sorry, I didn't
Farnham,
know it was down the road.
yeah, Farnham you are allowed to be on,
I'm
no
aware of
question,
it.
it's a Class 6. And it's unfortunate that that happened to you. Glass Road is effectively on the other side of town and is no longer a Class 6 road, so the public does not have the
I don't
right
know
to
what
use
that
it.
is.
What's that?
I don't even know what it is.
Don't worry about it.
You
The
mean
point,
it's no longer a Class 6 road, you mean it's been thrown up?
well, yeah, that term is, we know what you're talking about, although it's been claimed that term is dangerous. Like, fully discontinued, I think, is the term they're looking for at this point to differentiate between that and Class 6. And it means that the public is not allowed to use it, but property owners who would otherwise be landlocked are still allowed to use it as if it were as wide as it ever was. And that's coming from the mouth of probably the most reputable surveyor in the area, so pretty happy with that. And then on the other topic of Class 6 roads, I learned that my driveway is not a Class 6 road. It was discontinued in 1918. Yeah, and so I was always under the impression that it was a Class 6 road. It's referred to in the deed as Old Kinsman Highway. However, it is called Pinnacle Road on the road directory. What I wanted to do, and I wanted to ask the board what they thought, if you go to Enfield's website, it's still a Class 6 road in Enfield, and it says the road continues into Grafton. And there is a law saying that when a road is discontinued, you need to notify the neighboring town. Um,
So the Pony Express didn't get there at that time?
Right, exactly, and it's so long ago that I don't think it's probably particularly traceable, but,
And that rule might not have been in place back then.
right. There was hearsay that I encountered at one point that suggested that you couldn't discontinue a road that crossed town lines and with a still, open road, but I don't believe that that is true. I haven't found a law that suggests that. But what I thought I would do is maybe ask the Enfield Planning Board what they know and at least tell them that it shouldn't be it shouldn't be projected that the Grafton end is a public road.
Is there a sign at the end of that that says it's a dead end road?
No.
Uh,
And even if it is, it's like, it typically just say like, this is a non-maintained public right of way, class 6, use at own risk. But this stuff is dangerous, like,
Some of that stuff on there probably needs to be updated also. I think there's probably 3 places that need to be updated.
there's a bunch, that are not, that don't really match what I expected, like, everyone was under the impression that Stevens Hill is fully discontinued, but it was just changed to class 6 in 1988. According to this list, Stevens Hill is still public class 6 through road.
Whose list is this?
This is the road directory, town of Grafton.
Written by whom?
I imagine the planning board back in the 80s.
So is this the most updated?
Well, it's a great question, and I think that it could be our goal to, among other goals that we have, to peck away at to maybe update this.
So I was gonna say, it sounds like a good idea to reach out to Enfield, but maybe it's a good opportunity to focus on all the roads that
Oh, absolutely.
might be
No,
in question.
and the town map, the node. What was the term? How you pronounced it right, Russell? The nodular map, where there's nodes that
Yeah, well, we
I forget what it's
keep
called.
it short, it's a nautical map, but we just call it the nodes,
Yeah. Okay.
nodes map.
Right. That's a good tool for maybe like updating that. Anyways, yeah, Enfield. It would be nice to see what they had to say about that. But
I have a question. Does this correspond to what the map you had from last meeting that you got from?
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, most.
It is this.
I think so for the most part. I think the noted map has some typos which need to be addressed, but that's kind of separate. Last thing, which I forgot to put on the agenda, but ironically, which I think Paul Vogt had a question about last meeting, and maybe you guys were interested in too. I asked, I called the municipal association, talked with one of the municipal lawyers, just asking if there were any laws requiring agendas, requiring stuff like that, and the answer was that there are no laws requiring an agenda, there are no laws requiring posting the agenda. It's considered best practice, but it's not illegal to not do. So that was something interesting to learn. I figured I'd learn what their answer was. All right, that's all I got. I don't know if anyone has anything to think about class 6 roads or class 5 roads or.
Nothing.
That's great. Anything to share for on the select board end?
I was just gonna share the Farnham Road portion, and you already did that, so.
Great. I wanted to make note that the road grading operation seems to be going really well. Like, Kinsman is in really good shape, and those guys did a really good job.
Good.
It's worth passing along. Any public comment? Anyone have anything to contribute? Maureen?
The warrant article for the capital improvements plan.
Thank you. You found it. What year is this?
oh, I'm sorry, 1988.
I was 5.
And it reads, voted, well, it was
Excellent.
1987, and this is the year that they said that it passed.
Okay.
It was 1987. Voted to have the planning board prepare an advisory capital improvements program for the town.
Okay. All right, let's, yeah. You got the date there, Sabrina? That's awesome. That's gonna be important to, thanks for the homework.
Okay.
That's helpful.
And I would like to hear from you guys,
Yeah,
if your information related to the capital improvements plan was helpful, or did you have more questions about it?
I mean, I get the gist of it.
Did you see the sample?
Can't remember.
Did anyone see the sample in the back of the packet?
I looked at it, but I don't remember.
Oh, from Groton?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I looked at that briefly.
Okay, I thought
So,
that,
sorry, I was picturing like a blank,
I thought that would be helpful for you as far as what gets included in it and how it gets done.
what year was that?
I don't know, it probably says on there.
Or Hebron.
Oh, yeah,
2017 maybe?
Right, that's
it was
long.
fairly recent, like within the past 5-10 years.
Okay.
Right on. Right, so is what you're suggesting then to do, to not cut and paste, but use it heavily for inspiration and not necessarily have to hire a bunch of lawyers to do it for us?
No, you don't need lawyers to do it anyway. You guys can handle it, I promise you.
It's advisory anyway.
What?
Well,
It's advisory anyway.
the capital improvements
You can't
program
screw
may
up,
not
right?
be advisory,
No.
it's the master plan's advisory.
Like capital improvement, you said this was a generalized plan for the town to follow, not a, it's an
No,
advisory.
this-
That's the master plan, I think.
No, are you talking about what I just read?
Yeah, we're talking about the capital improvement
Yes,
plan.
it's not set in
To
stone.
prepare
Okay,
an
it's not.
advisory capital improvement program for the town.
Yeah, so,
And if I
No,
might suggest
you're right, yeah.
that this year you kind of practice, because it's kind of late to get your ducks in a row.
Oh, for sure.
So kind of do a mock one or practice, so next year you can do the real thing.
We'll try.
It's a lot to take, since you're new at it, it would be a lot to take on.
And I really think that delegating the responsibility to the department heads is the thing to do. I mean, they know best about their departments, and if we just asked for the information.
All you're asking, you're not asking them for the whole budget, you know, not rocks and oranges and apples and all that. You're asking them for what big project they would have coming up within the next 5, 6, 10 years.
Sure.
So it'd be like a purchase of a fire truck, or to build a fire station, or to build a park. The big stuff is what you're asking. So when you just ask them, what kind of Christmas presents would you like under your tree in the next 5 years? So I think you can handle that. You know, you're not the budget committee, you're looking ahead, you're planning ahead.
I get scared by this stuff because it's like you gotta be all, you really gotta know what you're doing, and I think.
No, if you,
I-
so that's why I suggested that you just kind of practice this year.
Yeah,
And that's why I gave you the sample, so you could get an idea of what you should be doing or would want to do. And you don't have to do it like they did it either. You do what works for the town. We're a small town, that's why I picked a small town also.
yeah, Hebron's kind of a good example of a town that doesn't have a big population, it's
Right.
pretty old timey, but like, probably has a little bit of, resources at its disposal.
Like, say for instance, the work that we did on the town hall, the grading and the other stuff, that could have been a capital improvements plan. It's kind of like a one-time thing, every 5 years or every 10 years. It's not buying hoses for the fire department or buying oxygen for the ambulance or anything like. It's the big thing.
Okay.
Stuff
Like
that,
buying a car or buying a house.
stuff that isn't typically found on an annual budget.
Mhm.
Right.
And because that's the case, it's stuff that's overlooked and Grafton doesn't end up with for years and years and years. Case in point, our grader is like 44 years old. And the big part of that is, it is a few $100,000 to replace it.
It's probably hard to get parts for it too.
Well, some parts, yeah, some parts are actually, you have to make them, and then you just simply hope that those parts don't break.
Well, when something, piece of equipment like that's just got 20,000 hours, it's just like one thing after another sometimes.
And it has been, actually, this year. It's one thing after another. There are reasons for it.
Yeah.
You know, the entire road crew is new, the piece of equipment is old. You know, you can't jump on it and treat it like it's a brand new piece of equipment. And that's the number one piece of equipment that they constantly use, or try to use.
And it doesn't make sense to have two. Like if one plow truck is down, we'll have another one.
It doesn't make sense to have two.
You're not gonna have two graders.
I got a question.
Sure, what's up, Dave?
Completely unrelated to the planning board, but on the topic on the grader, since you're here, does it make any sense, like, like with a grader, when new people come in, to hire like the old road agent to train the new people, or how does that? I guess the assumption always is that the old person teaches the new crew, but if that's not the case, which
Well,
seems to not be the case this
I
time.
would say that is normally probably best practice, but Grafton still has a lot of elected people, and the old road agent was elected.
Well,
Therefore, with elected positions, one of the downfalls is when you're done, you're done. You don't have to go the extra mile if you don't want to.
No, well, if you're an employee and you're appointed, you don't have any obligations either.
Well, no, so if you're an employee and you're gonna leave and you give a month's notice because it's a professional job, then as a selectman, I would ask that person start going over his responsibilities with the next person in line, or at least the person who's gonna take over his responsibilities in the meantime.
I understand that. I'm saying in this case, even though that he was previously elected and now it's an appointed position, still pay the old road agent to come in and train a new crew, rather than getting into breaking machinery and for mistakes.
Kind of depends what you think of the prior road agent,
Plus,
as far as being a
that's-
teacher.
No, it gets
It
complicated.
doesn't have to be the old
interpersonally,
one.
but,
It can be,
that's the-
it can be anybody who knows to use that piece of machine.
There's
Yeah.
also classes.
In a
that
perfect
you
world,
need.
there are classes, and really, taking the department head choosing to send certain people to classes, maybe say, hey, look, it's best if we have a single person driving the grader, because everybody knows, like, if you're the only one driving your car, you know what every little squeak is.
I mean, the
You
graders.
know if it's, I mean, they have their own little language, you know if you're doing something wrong with it. So typically, people who run machinery or who have machinery have one person in the seat, so to
Totally.
speak.
And the grader is kind of typically considered the hardest kind of equipment to run too, I think, as far as like doing a good job. Like,
It is, there's an art to it.
it's,
But nonetheless, it is definitely a piece of equipment that you have to save for. That you
Yep.
have to, 20 years ahead of time, say, what should we be doing here? You know, we should acknowledge that $10,000 or $20,000 a year needs to go in a capital reserve fund. Acknowledge that on a piece of paper so that the people in town know and can read it, that it's a savings account. It's just so that we don't get hit all in 1 year with a huge tax increase because a new grader was voted in.
right, and even if that is not unpalatable, it's just like, you don't get stuck with the grader down because it's 40 years old.
Right.
So, alright. Anything else?
When is there a new date set for Anson's property, or he's just waiting?
We're ready to, hold a public hearing if we hear that, like, the motion from the previous meeting stands, that we can schedule the public hearing for it once the state approval has been
You
set.
waiting for septic design approval? Or what are you waiting, wetlands approval, what's?
I think it's the septic, or the test pit stuff, because it's lots that are under 5 acres. And so,
Is it a major or minor subdivision?
major,
Oh.
there's like 7 lots.
Oh.
And so, I'm just waiting to hear, and hopefully, I made it clear to them that it takes, you gotta let me know like a few weeks ahead of time, it can't be right then, cause, it's
It has
basically,
to be posted 15 days before the meeting.
well, I think it's 10 clear days.
It's 15,
Um,
676
yeah. What is 10 then?
That's what it used to be, and I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago they changed it.
Is there a different thing that means 10 though, that I'm confusing it with, that's not even
I think it used to be 10.
676.4 is like 12 pages long.
It's probably the 3rd or 4th paragraph. I remember that we could not hold it, we used to meet every other,
Yeah, Maureen, it's 10.
okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah,
then.
I don't know if it used to be 15 or if there was something else that was 15, but this is a butters notices, etc.
I think so.
Yeah, like notice shall be mailed at least 10 days prior to submission. It's 10 business days, and
Okay,
it's known as 10 clear days. Like, you don't get to count the day you mail it or the day of the hearing in part of those 10 days, which is maybe where the 15 comes from, right? Because that's 10 business days plus those 2 plus a weekend and a half or whatever. In other words, I think it could be construed to basically be either, but
yeah, okay.
whatever. The point is, we got to get it out well before. It's page 475. Oh, you have a different.
Oh, we don't have the same one.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, we'll be hearing from Anson or his lawyer about that. So,
Could, we put on the next agenda talking about what we're gonna do about the holidays and schedule meetings around it? 'Cause I
Absolutely.
think last time we wished we had a little bit more time.
for sure. I mean, my tendency would maybe to be a week before Thanksgiving and Christmas. But if we want to do earlier, we could do 2 weeks before. Does anyone have a preference?
I thought we combined them and did just one meeting.
We
in
did,
December.
and it was demonstrated to us that we were breaking the law by doing that. Yeah, and whether we like it or not, it's true. We have to hold a meeting every calendar month. So,
Then sooner would be better.
and then you get a chance to like reschedule in case there's a, so we should tentatively plan on like 2 Thursdays before Thanksgiving and 2 weeks before Christmas, 2 Thursdays before Christmas or something like that. And we'll just make sure that that's not in the way of other departments' meetings.
Want me to get with the calendar, or do you want to do it next month?
Let's do next month. I'm kind of ready to. Well,
Motion to adjourn.
Wait,
what's up?
the applicant shall file the application with the board or its agent at least 15 days prior to the meeting at which the application will be accepted.
Right. The application has already been filed.
Were you talking about the
You
notice?
haven't accepted it as being complete because it's not complete.
Well, that's correct. We've accepted it conditional to a few things. But that's the,
No, that was a preliminary, and you can't make a decision on a preliminary. There are no decisions on preliminaries.
So,
You're starting from scratch here.
yeah, but we are allowed to roll the acceptance and the public hearing into one meeting.
Only on a minor subdivision.
I don't think we're required to. I think we reserve the right to not.
Only on a minor subdivision.
I'm not sure it's helpful.
When you get home, you
Yeah.
know that pretty little notebook that I made for you?
Yeah,
All that stuff is in there.
okay, Maureen. I think the point is that we reserve the right to tell a major subdivider that, no, you have to wait to give them time. But we have been satisfied with what we need to know. We have approved this already. We've accepted the
When
condition.
did you approve it?
Last meeting.
You can't approve a preliminary, that was a preliminary. Was the public notified? Did
We don't,
butters notices go out possibly?
that was not a public hearing.
She's saying, how can you make, he was just showing you some papers, how can you make decisions based on that?
Sure, so
It wasn't an official meeting.
so what you're saying is that the application needs to be 15 days so that the abutters notices can be 10. In other words, there needs to be a week between when we receive the final application so that the board, people related to,
Anyway, go ahead.
well, the difference between 10 days and 15 days is 1 week. In the language that we're speaking, right? Like 10 days is 2 work weeks, and 15 days is 3 work weeks. So it's like 1 week before.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. What?
When you do a major subdivision, you have to send out butters notices. It has to be posted in the newspaper, it has to be posted in
Yeah, we
online.
have to do that for any subdivision, even a lot line adjustment. You have
Okay,
to do
never
that.
mind, I'm not gonna go on if you're gonna.
No, but I'm agreeing with you. It's not just for a major.
No, but this is a major, that's
Yeah.
why I didn't wanna spend time on a lot line adjustment or a voluntary merger
Sure.
or
Okay, I'm with you.
minor subdivision.
Yep.
You cannot do acceptance of the application and the hearing in the same night for a major subdivision. You can for a minor. So the next time when you do it, when you get the application,
Yeah.
abutters need to be notified. You have the hearing to accept it as complete, and at that time, if it is complete, you set the date for the hearing. If it's a minor subdivision, you can say that it is complete and it will be rolled over into the hearing the same night.
Okay. I think you. So the term hearing that you used in the first time, I think you may have misused. There isn't a hearing to accept the application.
No, did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, you
But
accept the
that's not to
application-
detract from the legitimacy of
You
the other.
accept the
things.
application as complete and it rolls over into the
Yeah.
hearing. I didn't say that?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
So you're going to, at the next meeting, accept the application as complete. And then you are going to schedule a hearing for it after that. Why don't you give Scott a call? If you don't believe what I'm telling you, ask Scott.
okay, I mean, I can
And
look
it's
at
in your
the,
notebook.
I can look at the law and I can look at the town. Yeah, I mean, what I can't remember is if there's specifics in major versus minor in here, or if it's simply a town thing, like the town has the chance to,
I think it's in here.
okay. All right, I'll look into that.
Okay.
I will do what I can to make it reasonable for all parties involved.
According to the law.
And legal, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Because we did begin looking at this spring.
Yeah.
We've had the maps and everything for months and months.
We might have even started looking at it like a
Looking at what?
this subdivision.
Oh, yeah,
This is many stages into the preliminary kind of thing, and they finally reached a spot where they're happy with it, so.
but he did change some things. I was at the first meeting that we had.
For sure,
so-
yeah.
But a preliminary is kind of like he's coming to you and saying, do you see anything wrong here? Do you see things that you need more information on?
Sure.
Or do I need a wetlands permit for this and that? It's for someone that's coming in kind of fresh and you're supposed to help them say, oh, well, here's what you need to do here, or
Yeah,
I see that you've got a landlocked piece of property here, or something like that. So they're coming to you
Yeah.
for that.
So I think we do a motion on the,
no, we do, yeah, it's, Maureen, we will take what you're saying into consideration, and we'll make sure we're complying with the law. And, it's gonna be state laws and in our town subdivision regs, that we'll look at both of those things.
They're the same,
Well, not always, so,
unless they've not been updated, then they're not the same.
well, okay, it's, at a
Okay,
certain point,
I'm
we just need to,
I'm done.
need the board.